Great. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Future of the Commons Collective, and welcome to our 13th FoC talk. So, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, the Future of the Commons Collective is something that we set up sometime last year. This was following a conference in July 2024, which was focused around artificial intelligence, Indian languages, and archives. But of course, thinking about these topics within the larger premise of the commons, the digital commons, the knowledge commons, and thinking about the intersections among these three sort of key areas and how they impact ongoing work and the discourse around the digital commons. So really, the conference looked at various questions around digitization, around archival efforts, sort of challenges related to data. Looking at of course various stakeholders like say GLAM or of course big tech, various sort of intersections among these key stakeholders. And since the event, we have continued with a series of conversations organized every month within this sort of largely informal collective called the Future of the Commons. We've had sessions on digitization, on looking at the ethical implications of AI, what has been the role of, or what has been the impact on Indian languages, and more recently, of course, conversations around FoC and open data in the digital commons. Right, so I will quickly move on to just introducing the talk and the speakers today. Today's session is on the Justice Definitions project, a digital legal knowledge commons initiative for India. Our speakers today are Bhavya and Shruti. Bhavya Sudhir is a research associate at Daksh. He's a law graduate from Aligarh Muslim University and holds an LLM in Access to Justice from TIS Bombay. His research interests lie at the intersection of law, public policy, and society. Shruti Nambudiri is community manager at Daksh. She holds a postgraduate degree in development studies from Ambedkar University, Delhi. She has worked extensively on community development projects across India. Her interest lies in exploring sustainable solutions to bridge the gap between people and their ecosystems. The Judicial Data Collective is a collective of researchers, experts, and organizations convened by Daksh, working to standardize and open Indian judicial data. It focuses on establishing shared infrastructure and vocabulary while actively advocating for data quality to enable critical cross-learning and generate reliable insights. Daksh is India's leading think tank and research institution focused on law and justice system reforms and access to justice. So the talk today will look at the Justice Definitions Project, a volunteer and community-driven initiative creating a vital legal knowledge commons in India. So over to you, Shruti and Bhavya. Yeah, Shruti, I'm not sure if you're speaking. I think, yeah, I'm not able to hear you. I don't think the others are either. Do you want to try reconnecting?
Am I audible now?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, we can see the slides.
Okay. I hope I'm audible now.
You are audible.
Yeah,
Sorry,
but
there
there's
is
some
some kind
audio
of
problem.
ambient noise.
Uh,
Something.
yeah, there is some background noise that I won't be able to help with. It's
Okay,
just
okay.
the
So
area
it's
that I'm in. I
okay.
hope
So it's
my
not.
voice is audible. I'll try to speak loudly
Yes.
so that everybody can hear me.
No, no.
Uh,
That's fine. That's
Okay.
fine. Yeah. Sorry to
So
interrupt.
what I said before, and nobody was able to hear me. So thank you, Sneha, for introducing us, and thank you to the OKI team, Triple IT Hyderabad and CIS, for making this happen. We are very grateful and happy to be part of this Future of the Commons Collective session, and we're happy to present our work and get your insights also from uh, after the presentation, and whatever thoughts you have, we'd be happy. Uh, like Sneha introduced, I'm Shruti Nambudri, community manager at Daksh. Uh, Bhavya, would you like to quickly introduce yourself, and then I can move on to the slides?
Yeah, I'm Bhavya. I've been working on this project since its inception in 2023, and till now we have been able to build a community around it. Uh, I handle the content part of things. Shruti handles the community. Um, we'll be sharing this project with you. The technical aspects of the project and all is something that I think we will be benefiting from your comments and insights from there. So, looking forward to your comments.
Uh, okay, so we will start looking at the presentation. We'll start with the presentation. So the project that we are going to talk about today is called the Justice Definitions Project. It is basically a digital legal knowledge commons initiative that was designed for people to use within the Indian jurisdiction. This project was convened by this collaborative called the Judicial Data Collaborative, which is basically a collective of research organizations and individuals working in the space of policy and legal research who are practicing in that field with tech experts. So basically, this collective of all these people trying to look at judicial data and trying to make it more open and accessible for anybody and everybody, where they study the quality and limitations of judicial data with an aim to create a shared vocabulary, standards, and protocol infrastructure around judicial data to make access to justice possible for anyone and everyone who, you know, anyone and everyone in India, basically. Uh, Currently, we have all these members, like you can see on the presentation: Daksh, XKDR, Vidhi, Common Cause, India Justice Report, Nyaya, Justice Atta, Cyril Shroff Center for AI Law and Regulation, OpenNyay, Justice Hub, CIPLA, NLU Orissa, GNLU, Digital Futures Lab, Civic Data Lab, and TrustBridge as members of Judicial Data Collaborative. So within this collaborative, this initiative of Justice Definitions Project was taken up in August 2023. I'll quickly take you through the Judicial Data Collaborative website. I hope the screen is visible to everybody.
Yes. Yes.
So this is the landing page for the project with descriptions and what we do and the elements of the project, which we will walk you through quickly. The platform in itself, the digital commons that we have been building, is called the Justice Definitions Wiki, and this is the platform. It's basically hosted on a Media Wiki platform, and we have a
Shruti, just 1 second. I think the screen has not. Yeah, now it has moved.
yes, my bad. So this is the common digital commons where we are building the legal information, and it's called the Justice Definitions Wiki. It's hosted on Media Wiki platform. So basically, with respect to this project, what we are looking at is creating a comprehensive legal information repository on legal terms across various thematic areas of law. So here you can see the various thematic areas, and we started 2 years ago, and we are expanding the thematic areas and legal terms within these thematic areas as we grow. We're also looking at different languages to make the legal information on this repository as accessible as possible. This particular project has different programs within it because it involves different. So, because it's a volunteer and community driven project, it we work with legal community from law students to legal researchers to practitioners and academic faculty. And we have different programs like the Student Research Associate Program. We have Justice Definitions Editathons, and we do different collaborations with different legal institutions like law firms and law schools to get people more involved into this project. The idea is to curate legal term content on this platform. I will quickly walk you through one of the terms. So a simple legal term like bail, we would be looking at legal content for this particular term in this fashion on this platform.
I think we just lost audio again, Shruti, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I'm not able to hear you.
I think I'll just take it up from here because Shruti is facing some problem. So yeah, I mean, on the screen you can see one of the sample page that we have. It's on bail. The idea is that while collating information related to a particular legal concept, what we essentially do is that we collate all the sources of law relevant to that particular term, which is the conceptual element of that page. And then we also look into other facets like what are the policy recommendations around it, what are the database related information related to publicly available data. And then we also look into the policy discourse by identifying relevant research literature around it. So this whole collation exercise essentially captures everything which is relevant to foster advanced understanding of that particular term. And the process is done through a crowdsourcing mechanism where we first build a baseline page of sorts, and then we situate people around it who are community members of the project, who basically interact with each other on a WhatsApp community platform, and they share information which can be updated on the wiki page. So that's like a WhatsApp platform where this process takes place. We also have inbuilt feature on the interface where you can always add comments. We also have a content contribution form, uh, which can enable people to add comments and share relevant resources with us, so that we the page can be updated with all that kind of information. And this structure is something which is common for all the pages. We also have a page on sample term which we share with all our contributors, so that they know how the information has to be uh, fed into the wiki page based on relevant headings and subheadings. So like we just saw on the Bail page, the conceptual framework is one part of it. Regional variations is another part of it. Some sort of a functional information which is only confined to practicing advocates and people who are interacting with the court and judicial ecosystem. That kind of information which is not essentially documented, but we because of our community efforts we have been able to create a corpus of that kind of information also, uh, for the purpose of conceptual understanding, some sort of a comparative viewpoint, cross jurisdictional analysis and all. That's also something that we try to cover as part of our content on the wiki. We also look into the digitization efforts and technological transformations related to that particular concept, so that is also documented. This includes all the digital platforms that are around, some sort of a legal tech interventions that have been made around the particular concept. So all that is documented under this particular subheading. And then there is a section on database where uh, we just look into what's the publicly available data on that. These data sources are essentially annual reports by ministries. Sometimes there are dashboards which the government have, so all that is captured under this. We also look into the database that is maintained by non-government entities. Now many civil society organizations working in the space do have their own methods of data collection. Maybe they'll file RTIs and then they compile it and put it out for public to consume. So all that information is also captured under the database section, where we look into the work that is being done by relevant actors in the field. And then research that engages with term is all about collating relevant research literature around the terms. This is more like a bibliography of sorts. We also provide a relevant description attached to a particular research literature, which tells the reader how that particular research literature informs the concept. uh, and then there's a section on challenges and way ahead. This is more like a place where we identify the challenges and way ahead. Now the sources for these challenges and way ahead are essentially, because what happens in the legal community, a lot of information of this nature, which is challenges and way ahead, is essentially uh, out maybe in social media posts, LinkedIn posts, etc. And there's no place where it gets collected and one can access them under a single platform. So the community also tracks all these discourses which are flowing around in social media and all, and we try to capture them all under this particular section. And this is all done by a community once a baseline page is prepared. So yeah, that's all about the platform, I think. We will now maybe move to the presentation deck and uh, discuss how the project is has sort of evolved over the course of time and what are the problems we have been addressing. So yeah, already, I mean, we have discussed that how the information related to justice system is scattered, it's inaccessible, complex, and ever evolving. And we do have many databases, we do have many resources which capture legal information. They try to make it simple and all. But the problem arises is that there's no verifiable uh, sources, that's one problem. And then because the nature of law is such that it evolves by way of judicial interpretation, amendments and all, and then there is a lot of delegated legislation, subordinate legislation that takes place and which influences the functional aspects related to that particular term. So a static platform which captures an information relevant for a particular time frame is not something which really helps the legal community, and that's why I think the wiki really helps us address that kind of a gap. uh, by and large, simplification is also one uh, problem that we are trying to address because of community efforts. The description that we provide around legal provisions and all is also something that caters to simplification of legal language also. um, because of rise of AI, and we do have some help. uh, it really helps us provide instant answers to complex legal questions and all, but there are certain issues that uh, are prevalent related to use of generative AI, particularly in legal context. Uh, Hallucinations, erosion of trust are some of them. So the idea is that verification of the content, reliability of the content is something that is a issue with the use of generative AI, and that's why when we think about use of AI in legal ecosystem and all, the idea is that we uh, need to think about some sort of a counterweight mechanism that can help us balance things out. So to address this particular challenge, we thought that wiki platform and a community driven platform like this can really address that gap again. So because it's transparent, you know who is where a particular information is coming from. You can always trace it from the public history logs, etc. There is an element of verifiability also, because we, as a practice, we ensure that every information that goes onto the wiki is mapped through uh, relevant authoritative sources. So that also helps us maintain the credibility of the content that we have on the wiki. And because it's a exercise where community is clustered around a wiki page, and they peer review the content that is there, we also have active patrolling mechanisms where we keep a check on what's happening on the wiki. There are people who have been positioned uh, who can take broader responsibility of a particular thematic area, and see what's happening on pages related to that thematic area. uh, do some sort of a patrolling to make sure that the content that's going on the wiki is verifiable and credible. So that sort of a mechanism is uh, something that wiki provides, and it really helps us address the gap that AI generated content uh, have. Uh, I think we can move to the next. Yeah. So, like I just told you, that the community patrolling mechanism is something that we have been able to build. It comprises of lawyers and people who are interested in the subject matter of a particular page. So they basically vet the content, and this exercise keeps on happening. It's because the nature of law is also such where the pages need to be updated at frequent point of times, and also this community element is something which is vital, and we have been building it constantly for relevant thematic areas. As and when a new thematic area is added to the wiki portfolio, we identify people who can take a broader responsibility for that thematic area. Yeah. We, for the purpose of sustaining this project, we have a flagship student RA program where students law students essentially enroll with us for a period of 3 to 4 years. They uh, work on the pages which are relevant and aligning with their interest and all. So they basically help us curate a baseline page of sorts. This page is again circulated with members of the community so that they can maybe vet it and uh, add verify the content and ensure accuracy in that sense. So this is something which is we have been constantly doing since the beginning of the project. The curation by law students and review exercise by lawyers and academics. Now we have moved collaborating with academic institutions, research organizations who take a broader responsibility of a particular thematic area and maybe uh, collaborate with us by providing mentorship to the student RAs. If it's an academic institution, they uh, sort of attach certain student volunteers from their end also and take a broader responsibility of creating relevant wiki content on the platform. And then we also organize events like editathons, etc., which help us with the like making this whole process, gamify this process basically. And then it becomes a very interesting exercise for people who participate in this. So this is how we have been able to keep this thing growing and sustained. um, yeah, so now the problem is that this is about the curation part of things. uh, for this particular session, we also wanted to understand. I mean, these are certain challenges that we have been facing, and I think the community will be able to help us address these questions. The translation is one area where we have been sort of struggling a lot because uh, um the community required for translating legal content is something where we are facing a lot of constraints also. Right now, the mechanism that we have been able to build is that we have certain pages which have been translated to regional languages by use of machine LLM models. We also have enabled Google Translate extension on Wiki, but again, this content that comes up is not really reliable. So we need an active community who can, take a look at this content and verify it, make it suitable to legal usage, etc. uh, based on our based on the content that we have got, we have felt that this content is not really something which is very reliable, but it does help bridge the accessibility question. But I think an element of people who can help us with the translation side of things would be something that the project essentially requires at this point of time, because end of the day this content is relevant for people who are working in the grassroots. They are paralegal volunteers, for example. There are people who are really uh, struggling to get this kind of legal information. So making it accessible is one objective, but the drawback is that we don't really have the community who can vouch for the translated content at this point of time, and we are relying on the machine generation and the Google Translate plugin that we have. Apart from this, the discoverability of the project is also one thing where we are sort of struggling, because this platform is basically a MediaWiki platform. Our service provider is ProWiki, and SEO optimization is something which we have been struggling with, because uh, it does not really come up on a Google search or something because of the wiki interface. So what we require at this point of time is uh, some sort of a mechanism where this project can be really made discoverable, and it the SEO capabilities can be enhanced basically. So yeah, I think that should be all about the project. If you I think we can move to the question and answer session and get your thoughts on how we can maybe address the questions that I just challenges that I just presented in front of you. If you have any additional comments on other aspects of the curation exercise and all, we'll be happy to answer.
Thank you so much for that, Bhavya and Shruti. I hope Shruti's audio is all right now. Yeah, but we can open up the session for questions. Please do raise your hands. Feel free to unmute and ask a question also. It's a pretty small group. Great. Yeah. Just checking if if there are any immediate responses. I think there are a number of Wikimedians in the room as well. If there are any responses to the specific challenges that Bhavya had outlined in the last slide.
Yeah.
Yeah, translation, I think, would be one key area of work, and definitely be wonderful to see how to replicate something like this in multiple Indian languages. And then, of course, challenges of discoverability, of access. Yeah, if there are any thoughts, any reflections on this. Okay, so I think while people are processing, all of the information that was shared, and I'm sure thinking of questions and reflections, Bhavya, Shruti, just also wanted to understand, thinking about translation itself, right? About the process that was followed, for instance, for the Hindi iteration, right? Did you work closely with Hindi translators, with the students who also understand the language? Maybe that would be helpful to understand also what
So
the
the process that we followed for the Hindi iteration was that we reached out to certain lawyers and we asked them to go through the content and let us know if they're so the issues that were coming up were not really the only problem was that general Hindi language, legal Hindi, sometimes gets difficult to understand. So that kind of a gap was coming up. But essentially, I mean, to be very honest, internally we do think that I mean the machine generated content is doing its job, but there's always a scope of a human in the process to uh, improvise it. Uh, and particularly for the legal content, this gap is something which w- at least we are not, because from we can do for the languages that are unique to us, but for other languages this kind of a uh, the promise that it's all fine and all is something which we really struggle with.
thanks. Thanks for sharing that, Bhavya. Yeah, absolutely. I think, while some of this work may still be possible for, say, say, more dominant languages or languages that have a visible presence on the internet. It that may not be the case for languages that already have some challenges with online visibility and presence, right? So I think that's where something like this would the workflow would also become complicated, and using, I think, AI also to help with the initial translations would pose a challenge there as well. Um, yeah, I think there is a question in the chat from Subodhji
Yeah.
on databases. So
So
perhaps
for database, the thing is that there is a lot of variations that exist related to how different, because there are many actors in the space. A state government will have their own database. Uh, there is a national database also. The publicly available information related to quantitative factors that relate to a particular concept is also scattered. So I think maybe we can look at a page on arrest, for example, to get a sense of what we essentially mean when we talk about database. So this is the page on arrest. Here we have been looking at how information related to arrested person is captured across different states and all the parameters that are used. So based on this analysis, we sort of give a picture of what are the variations that exist. So for example, whether the information related to time and place of arrest is provided or not, whether the information related to arresting officer is provided or not. So this is where a lot of variation exists in terms of which state portal is maintaining that information. And this is and we track this because this also evolves as and when any policy intervention is made by the respective states. So we track all this and keep it on the platform. This is about one aspect. We also look into information which is maintained by different publicly, so annual reports and the official publications by government related to policy figures. And also uh, as part of this, we look into parliamentary questions, we look into annual reports. So these are all quantitative information related to a particular legal concept that we try to capture. There is also a section that is information that is captured by uh, non-government entities. So for example, related to a writ petition, Daksh dashboard also is a non-government dashboard which we have added to the platform. So this gives an information on basically it brings together everything that exists on the internet, the work done by different uh, policy organizations, etc., and it becomes a directory source of sorts. So yeah, this is how it works out.
great. Thanks, Bhavya. I think Subodhji has a question. Do go ahead.
Yes. Um, are there any thematic repositories, for example, environment legal cases? So that depends on the page that we are working on. For example, under the environmental uh, law page, we have certain pages on, say, for example, pollutants and pollution control board. So these pages will talk about certain databases, like this is NAQI database that we have talked about in water quality monitoring system and all. So the idea is that we have provided relevant links here, and which takes you to the relevant uh, dashboard, for example, and you can explore for oneself. The idea is to just bring together what already exists and leaving it open for the user to explore the database in more detail, because this sort of information is not something which is which a normal layperson would be knowing about. So we are just compiling everything for them to consume. And we also go into the nuances related to how the data, the practices related to data maintenance and all. We identify the variations that exist. So that's also one part of it, which is more analysis driven, which law students do. But uh, the objective of having the database section is about tracking the quantitative data. As far as like information related to environmental legal cases and other such things are concerned, that depends on the page that we are looking at. So if a page is on, say, environment uh, impact assessment or something like, so in this we will be looking at the Parivesh portal, which is one of the database, and the cases related to EIA are also covered in the content as defined. Sorry, this page does not have case laws, but I think, yeah. So as defined in case laws is one section that is there for all the pages. So in this, we essentially track the landmark cases that inform or substantially change the meaning of a particular legal concept. So this is the approach that we follow for the cases. As far as having a repository of cases related to a particular concept, that is not something which is within the scope of wiki, because I mean it's too big an exercise to be done by a community. So
Thanks for that, Bhavya. Just checking, Subodri, if you wanted to, your hand is up. If you wanted to share anything by voice. Okay. He's not able to unmute. We'll just check what that is. But yeah, just checking if there are any other questions in the room. Please feel free to type it out on chat in case there is an issue with audio, or yeah, if you're not able to unmute. Yeah. I had a question, Bhavya, on use cases, right? Because I think that's also something that's very closely tied to discoverability. And I do remember we had a conversation on this earlier as well, just in terms of the various spaces. So, EIA activists, for instance, I think. So, thinking about different types of stakeholders who would be able to engage with a project like this, with this kind of a database.
yeah, so I think paralegal volunteers is one use case, but we have been discussing this a lot, and I think this is a common attribute to all wiki project, and even the co-founder also says that it's a temple of mind. So the real beneficiary of a wiki project is the person who is working on the wiki page and contributing to it. So in terms of legal knowledge, I think the law students who are really working on the project really stand to benefit at this point of time. But in terms of consuming this information and really benefiting from it, we think that the paralegal volunteers, lawyers, etc., who a lawyer may know nuances related to court practices for his own jurisdiction where he's practicing, but sometimes they really need to move out and maybe pursue a case for in other state jurisdictions. So that's where a lot of gap exists. So I think this project is really trying to
Sorry, Bhavya, I think we lost your audio as well there.
where I mean all through I was mute, I think.
No, 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 just the very last, I think
Okay,
just the last
yeah.
10 seconds or so. Yeah.
No, so that's the point that lawyers who want to
Hmm.
practice in other jurisdiction and are not really well aware about the functional nuances of the courts outside their jurisdiction, they also stand to benefit. Uh, Broadly, it's for the legal community. It has a legal awareness component to it, but because the scope of the content is very wide, I think the idea is to really inform people who are interested to engage with the policy and uh, research ecosystem around that particular concept. So we are essentially, so conceptual knowledge is part of it. It's a foundational thing, but I think the community engages more at that front where we are really discussing the challenges, nuances, and the functional aspects of a particular term. And law students really stand to benefit because a lot of information that we are capturing is sometimes outside their curriculum also. So they get a additional dose of information too while working on the project.
That's great. Thank you.
But I think no, the commons part of it is also something which we have been I don't know how the project we have been building, the kind of use cases, the kind of people it stands to benefit and all is something that we have discussed. But uh, I wanted to get your sense on how this project can really be, how we can articulate in terms of commons with respect to this project. Is it just a resource hub, or and how we can really make it more accessible for people?
Yeah, I think Subodji has added something on chat.
Mm.
Yes, assignments under NEP to develop content in Indian languages. Yeah, because it's very domain specific, but even so, I think, I think workshopping and working with law students and across various languages would be one way to kind of replicate this model across um, various other languages.
Yeah, but legal education in India, I mean, we apart from few states,
Mm,
it's generally English dominated only. So
mm,
even identifying the right kind of colleges for this kind of a thing is a constraint, I think. But yeah, whatever exists, we can always reach out to them, I think.
right. And I'm also thinking aloud here on, collaborations with, and I'm sure you're already doing that, right? As in collaborations with um, other stakeholders who might be engaged in um, legal or policy related work, but in certain domains, like for instance, environmental law or, you know, say tech policy, of course, is one large area of work. So think tanks that are engaged with some of these questions, right? So I think that already brings in kind of also um, hopefully diverse use cases, for people who can approach or who can use this database for some of their work, but also contribute to it from their own kind of research or work that they're doing in these very focused areas,
Yes.
which might also be useful. And a lot of these, I'm hoping, will also have some kind of an Indian language potentially component there.
Yes. So organizations which are working in human rights space, for example, they potentially have a lot of like they can find value in looking at regional languages, and because they do have paralegals and people who can really do that kind of verification and vetting process for machine generated translation. We have been talking to a lot of organizations who can help us at that front also.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
We
Okay.
should be, yes, we can hear you.
I think there's some major audio issue going on, which I've not been able to resolve. Uh, so I think regarding the points that you mentioned before, and Bhavya has already answered them, but I'll also add a few points. So when we were talking about, let's say first the use case of the repository, uh, the thing that we have been doing at this point is reaching out to institutions, law schools, to use it as a supplementary source for students. So, because students are working on certain thematic areas and curating terms of their interest, there are senior students also who are curating terms, and there is this sense of peer learning that can happen. And now that we're reaching out to law schools to do this, this is something that institutions are interested in. Now, our collaboration with law firms at this point has also been on that line, that the use case for this seems to be of importance for them, because currently we are working with a law firm working on labor law, and they were talking about how their clients do not have the basic understanding of their rights and provisions. So arbitrators and litigators, they have to explain everything to them from scratch, and it is a very time taking process. With something like this, clients will be able to have a very foundational understanding to begin with, and if they want to know more, they'll be able to engage with the content, which will be of help to the lawyers themselves. That's one. We are reaching out to grassroots organizations as well to engage paralegal workers and volunteers, like Bhavya said. One of the issues where what that we're facing with respect to that is the translation part. Here, with respect to the translation part, we have this Google extension already installed on the platform, which means that with the help of that extension, we can translate all the existing content to different Indian regional languages. So Hindi, Kannada, Marathi, Punjabi, Odia, all of that. But the issue with Media Wiki at this point that we are facing is those Google translated content cannot be edited like any other page on Wiki. And we are not sure how to address that because we don't have the know-how of it. And I'm assuming that there are a few Wikimedians here, and if something of help to us comes to your mind with respect to that, we'd really appreciate you sharing that. I think our use case also gets narrowed in scope because of the translation abilities. Uh, so yeah, Google Translate extension has been the biggest help so far in terms of having some basic content in a language, but how to edit that to make it more colloquial for regional speakers and readers is something that we are facing a challenge with. So, if any Wikimedians in the house or anybody who has an idea on how we can actually address that problem, that would be great. I hope I was audible and I was not.
Right. Thanks, Shruti. Yes, you were audible. I think all of us could hear you. Yeah, just checking if there are any immediate responses. I think Subhoji has texted. I think you can also try unmuting Subhoji. I have tried to see if we can add moderator rights.
I think disconnecting and again connecting helps for a while with the audio. Disconnecting from the call.
Yes, my apologies. This is also the first time that we are trying out Jitsi for this session. I don't know if it is the platform that is causing some of these issues.
So, with respect to the discoverability aspect of the project, we were looking at the SEO functions of the platform, the MediaWiki platform itself. And the thing is, MediaWiki has this SEO parser function that we have been using. But as we've been told by our hosting service provider, as well as many other people, that SEO to have that impact to rank on search engines as top results, it takes a lot more time than we were thinking. So they were giving us a time range of 2 to 3 years for the SEO function to actually have an impact. And because this is a funded project, we were talking about how we can't wait for that function to just kick in after 2-3 years. So we were talking to a few tech experts about what we can do. There was this conversation around transitioning from MediaWiki to a different hosting platform. But then also we were informed that if we change our domain, so currently whatever was provided to us was a subdomain because of which it doesn't have that kind of search engine optimization. So if we go to a main domain, if we take a main domain, the search engine optimization would be better. We have also built a pilot Chrome extension for this platform, which is basically a lookup dictionary for legal terms. So this is something that we have piloted. We are piloting right now. So the extension is available, but it is not. It has a few glitches, and that's something that we're working on. So this extension basically is for people to figure out the basic definitions of legal terms while they're scrolling through the internet, and they come across a term, and if they have the extension on, they can right click on it and enable it, and a short definition for that term from the MediaWiki, from the Justice Definitions Wiki platform will show up. If they wish to read more, it will redirect them to the MediaWiki platform. So there are a few things that we are doing at our end to increase the discoverability and use case for this by using different tools. So, but if you guys have any suggestions as to what we can do to increase our discoverability and help us with translation, we'd be more than happy. So Subhoji has said that Wikimedians can help in this regard. I think, Subhoji, I will get in touch with you to discuss this.
Okay, I think Suji may have just dropped off the call.
Okay.
But yes, we can definitely connect and discuss this further. Yeah.
Any other questions or
Yeah.
suggestions from anybody else? They're more than welcome.
Right. So I think both especially the at the very end, the challenges that you pointed out are quite, significant. They're also fairly technical, which is why I'm not able to think of an immediate response, Shruti. But I'm sure there are ways to kind of think about this, or see if there is an alternative or some way to sort of work around this. But I think for me, one of the things, and I remember sharing this also when we first connected, uh, is just the use of MediaWiki, and seeing a MediaWiki instance outside of the Wikimedia projects itself. Right? For me, that I think was a sort of big draw of this project. I think Pavan has his hand up. Pavan, yes. You want to go ahead?
Yeah,
Okay,
hi.
you're able to unmute. Great. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, I don't have a direct answer because I'm not a tech contributor in this regard. But what I would like to reiterate is that, like, Sneha and Subodh already reiterated the point, but we have very well connections with, and also we have a working relationship with Indic Media Wiki tech developers, and also we are also we ourselves are building a pipeline to bring new MediaWiki contributors to Wikimedia platform, etc. So
Right.
we can definitely take this up to right people and figure out how can we help you.
Right.
So yeah, we will follow this up
That
after
yes,
this.
that would be great. Like great, Pawan. I mean, that would be very helpful. I have shared my email ID in the chat in case somebody has some comments or insights that comes to them later and they want to share it with me. Uh, I would be happy to receive ideas and suggestions and insights from you guys. Uh, s- so, yeah.
Thanks for that, Shruti. Just quickly checking if there are any other questions, comments, any other reflections. Please, of course, feel free to reach out directly to Shruti if you have any other thoughts uh, on the project.
We'll also again share the platform URL with you guys. So, in case it got lost in the chat,
Great. I think there's a link that you've shared just now. Yes. Okay. Thanks so much for that. Okay, so I think we can close this call. Sorry, just quickly checking if there are any other questions or comments. Okay, so I think that that was our session. Thanks so much, Shruti and Bhavya, for joining us. Um, for that very comprehensive demo of the project. I would definitely encourage folks here to please check out the site, check out the wiki, do see how you are able to sort of engage with it. If you haven't done so already, do see how you can sort of work with that wiki. And of course, feel free to reach out directly to Shruti and Bhavya for more insights, more info on the project itself. But yeah, thank you so much, Shruti and Bhavya, for joining us today. And thank you so much, everyone, for attending.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Sneha.
everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sneha, for having us here. It was our pleasure to present our project to all of you. And I will say this again, please, if you have any insights or suggestions, we are open to them and we would love to hear from you, all of you. Thank you.
Great. Thanks all. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.